သိမှတယောက်ဆိုတော့အလုံးရခဲ့တယ်ဆိုတဲ့သဘောမျိုးသိအောင်လောကမှာရခဲ့တဲ့ပစ္စည်းဆိုရင်တန်ဖိုးရှိတော့ဈေးကြည့်ပြီးတော့တန်ဖိုးရှိတဲ့ပစ္စည်းခေါ်တာရလွယ်တယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဈေးပေါ်ပြီးတော့တန်ဖိုးနေတာပဲပြီးတော့တရားမှန်ဟာတရားကျင့်မိမှလည်းကျင့်မိမှလည်းအားလုံးကိုသိရတရားမှန်ဟာဒီလောက်ကိုတန်ဖိုးရှိတဲ့ယရနာတစ်ပါးပါအဲ့ဒါကိုဒီနေ့ထောက်ခံရပေးတဲ့အနေနဲ့လောကမှာရခဲ့တဲ့ဘုရားက၅မျိုးရှိတယ်ဆိုရင်တုတ်တန်လေးတော့ရှင်းပြလို့ပြောပါဦးနော်
Sayadaw says, yesterday he has explained about 4 types of persons. Among them, the last person who highly thinks, pay importance in true Dhamma, true teaching, true practice. There is only one among 100,000 people. That means those people who understand the Dhamma, who know the value of the Dhamma, who highly thinks about the true practice, they are really very few in this world. That means the Dhamma is really precious one, as well as the person who knows the Dhamma also becomes valuable one. In this world, the thing which is difficult to gain, that thing becomes expensive. When it becomes expensive, people look at them with value. They highly respected them. They highly estimate them, and they highly admire them. They want to keep such things in safety. But those things which are easy to get, they become cheap, not expensive. People don't pay too much value for those things. So therefore, today also Sayadaw would like to give you some understanding about the valuable things in this world, which are really difficult to gain, not easily obtainable. They are 5 in number. Sayadaw would like to give the numbers according to the text. and try to explain them to make you known.
ကရဝမှာကျက်စွာဘုရားဝိတာလီလိစုယမြင့်ပရိသတ်ဟောလိစုယမြင့်များရဲ့အကြည်ညိုခံယူစေဟောဒီတထဲကပိဋိယာလီခေါ်တဲ့ဗြဟ္မဏတရားကဘုရားဆုံးမတဲ့အတိုင်းကျင့်သုံးထားတာကျင့်သုံးထားတဲ့တရားတော်ရရှိတဲ့တရားတော်နဲ့မြတ်စွာဘုရားကိုကဲဖြတ်ပြီးတော့တရားမှန်ကိုပေါ်ထုတ်တော်မူတဲ့ဘုရားဟာဒီကံမှန်တာပဲဆိုတော့တရားတော်မြင်တဲ့ဖြင့်ဘုရားကိုလည်းပဲနားလည်တရားကုံတော်ကြည့်တဲ့ဖြင့်ဘုရားကုံတော်လည်းကြည့်ပါလိမ့်ဒီတကြမှာဒီတကလည်းစိုးစိုးကြီးကြီးဝတ်စုံနေတော့ရှင်ဒီအဝတ်ကြီးကိုလည်းအမှန်အတေးရှိတာဤတအတေးနဲ့ဘုရားအတေးနဲ့ဟပ်ပြီးတော့ဒီညလုံးဆုံးဖြစ်ပြီးမြတ်စွာဘုရားပြီးတော့မြတ်စွာဘုရားကိုယ်တော်လေးနဲ့ပူဇော်ပြရစီဒီရဲ့စိတ်ထဲမှာပူဇော်ပြရဲ့စိတ်ကြီးဖြစ်ပေါ်လာပါတယ်မြတ်စွာဘုရားကိုယ်တော်လေးချက်ပြီးတော့ကာထာလေးတစ်ခုနဲ့ပေါ့ဒီချီးကျူးပူဇော်ပါတယ်အဲဒီချီးကျူးပူဇော်အပြီးမှာမြတ်စွာဘုရားကအဲဒီပြိတ္တဘယ်လောက်ရောကြည့်အောင်ဆိုပြီးတော့ဘုရားတရား၅ပါးဆက်လက်ပြီးတော့ဟောပါတယ်
At the time of the Buddha, when the Buddha was sojourning at Vesali, the kings and princes of Vesali kingdom gathered together in front of the Buddha and was paying reverence to the Buddha. Among them there was a Brahmin called Pingiyani. The Lichavi princes were so handsome and so beautiful with their various types of uniform dresses. They seem to be the deities of the heaven. Brahmin Pingiyani was familiar with the Buddha, and he had proper understanding about the virtues of the Buddha, because he had known the Dhamma precisely according to the teaching of the Buddha. He had done the practice, he had seen the Dhamma. Because of seeing that Dhamma well, he understood the virtue of the Buddha. Seeing the marvelousness of the princess and the exceeding marvelousness of the Buddha, he wanted to make clear the virtue of the Buddha in front of those kings and princes of Vesali. So that is why he asked permission from the Buddha to express his gratitude towards the Buddha using a verse. At the time when the the Brahmin Pingyani already expressed his gratitude describing the various virtues of the Buddha, later on the Buddha expounded those 5 difficult things which are uneasy to gain in ordinary sense.
Yes, sir. How this is you. Yerana Navio Lokama Kiton Boya. Hey, Yerana Navio Sara. Yerana Boya is Saho Pong. Uranyaswa, Kuton Pogochin. Gunella Lava Mune, Yaro Hojari for Penny. Hojara de Yaro Sapia Pinale de Woli, Yagedi. Pinale had a die. Media for the Levan, the Yashibu Yaboli. She down the other one, Pina, again, the other. Can't do what Yagedi. There are Yaradi Yashi, Jesu the Atida, Jesu for Judy, a Coco, Nami. That was the idea.
Those 5 things are such as it is really difficult to become a Buddha in this world who really understand all the aspects and who is omniscient one. There is another thing which is difficult to gain is the person who can expound the teaching of the Buddha according to the teaching. It is also difficult to gain in this world those who have known well the teaching of the Buddha through the study of scriptures, texts. And there is another difficult thing to gain in this world. The person who knows the teaching textually and who follow the teaching accordingly, fulfilling the wholesome moral behaviors, having well-trained mental training and proper understanding about the phenomenal aspects to realize the nature of the existence or the life. Again, there is another person is difficult to gain who knows the gratitude and who can easily declare freely the gratitude to others who have done various helps to them.
ပထမဆုံးဘုရားမြတ်စွာလောကမှာပုံထုတ်ပုံချင်းဆိုတာဘုရားမြတ်စွာဆိုတာတာမညဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တော့တာမညပြောလို့ရှိရင်တော့တာမညတော့ပဲအလေးကိုသိကြပါပါပဲဒီမှာဘုံဘုံသုံးထည့်ပြီးတော့ပြတ်ထားပါတယ်အဲပြတ်ထားတဲ့ကုမုတ်ကတော့တထာဂတအရဟံသမ္မာသမ္ဗုဒ္ဓကုမုတ်သုံးခုပြတ်ထားပါတယ်အဲဒီကုမုတ်သုံးခုထဲကပထမဆုံးကုမုတ်ကတထာဂတရှိပြရတဲ့သူအလားတူလာတော်မူရဲ့ရှိပြရတဲ့သူအလားတူလာတော်မူတဲ့ဆိုတာကဘုရားဂေါရမဟာသူမိတာရှင်သေးဘဝနဲ့ဒီကရမြတ်စွာဘုရားထံတော်မှာတရားနာကြားပြီးတော့အထုတ်တယ်ဆိုရင်အဲ့ဒါတို့ဖို့ပေါ့ယဟန္တာဖြစ်နေတော့တဲ့ရှင်ကြီးသာဝကပါရမီများအစင်းလေးရည်တန်နေပါလိမ့်ဒါပေမဲ့လို့ဒီနေ့ကိုယ်ရဲ့ဥနာတိဒုက္ခပြီးမကင်းတာဘဟုအကင်းကြောင်းကိုဘဟုပြုစီရင်သုံးသပ်ပြီးတော့အခြားခြားတ attva တွေလည်းပဲဒီလိုပဲပြီးတော့မိမိတို့စွန့်ရည်တတ်တဲ့ရှိတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တွေကတယောက်တည်းဘဝတွေအလုံးစုံသွားလို့မတော်ဘူးမိမိကိုယ်တိုင်သိရှိပြီးတော့ဘဝဆင်းရဲတွေကတုံ့ပြန်သွားလို့မတော်ဘူးပြီးတော့မိမိကိုယ်တိုင်သိရှိပြီးတော့တ attva တွေလည်းသိရှိပြီးတော့မိမိကိုယ်တိုင်လုံးရောက်ပြီးတော့တ attva တွေလုံးရောက်ဆိုမိမိကိုယ်တိုင်ဤမှာပဲကံနေပြီးတော့ဥမာပဲဘေးကင်းရပဲပေါ့။ကြောက်ကျိုးစားရတဲ့တ attva တွေလည်းတည်တည်မယ်ဆိုတဲ့စိတ်ပတိမျိုးကိုခံရတဲ့ကြားပြီးတော့ဒါနဆိုင်တဲ့ပါရမီတော်တွေနိသဘာနဲ့ချီပြီးတော့ဒါနဆိုင်တဲ့ပါရမီဖြစ်စီဖြစ်လာ။တက်တာဟုတ်ပါပါရမီဖြစ်ရတာ။အဲဒီလိုပါရမီကြီးပြည့်စုံပြီးတော့နောက်ဆုံးရောက်ဖြစ်တဲ့ဘဝမှာမတရားရှောက်ပြီးတော့မတရားကြည့်ပြီးအဲ့တော့တမန်နဲ့ဣတိတာတွေပါနေအကုန်လုံးသိရှင်းနိုင်တဲ့အပိုင်းကိုကြားဖြစ်တဲ့အပိုင်းရှိတ attva များအတွက်လာတာအကြောင်းပြုပြီးတော့တထာဂတာလို့ဆိုပါတယ်အဲ့ဒါတမန်နဲ့ဣတိတာတွေပါနေအကုန်လုံးကြားရှင်းလိုက်တော့မြတ်စွာဘုရားမှာဆရာတော်ဘောဆိုင်တဲ့ဣတိတာတွေဝါဒနာတတိနဲ့ဒီဘောဘာမှမရှိတာလုံးဝတတ်စင်တာလုံးဝတတ်စင်တာတော့လောကကြီးအတူတူသူ့ခန္ဓာထိုက်ပြီးအဟံဆိုတဲ့ကုံလုံးကိုသိစေဒီမြတ်စွာဘုရားအညီကြီးကြီးကျင်းသွားတော့မောဟတွေလုံးဝကျင်းသွားတော့အတိကြီးမတိဖို့တွေလုံးဝကျင်းသွားပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်မြတ်စွာဘုရားသိတာဘုဒ္ဓသိရဲဆိုတာကသူတို့ကခံပြီးခံပြီးတော့သိတာလားဆိုတော့မဟုတ်ဘူးသံဗုဒ္ဓကိုယ်တိုင်သိတာဒီလိုကိုယ်တိုင်သိတဲ့နေရာမှာလည်းပဲအလွယ်မရှိဘူးအမှန်ကြီးသိတာတချို့ကတော့ရှိနေတာကတခြားကိုယ်ကသိတာတခြားပါဘူးအလွယ်လွယ်ကြီးသိတတ်တယ်ဆက်စွာပြမှာတော့ပါရမီအရှိန်ဖုံးနဲ့ကိုယ်တိုင်သိမှာသိရမှာအလွယ်မရှိအမှန်တိုင်းသိတယ်သမ္မာဗုဒ္ဓဆိုတာဒီအလုံးပေါင်းနိုင်မယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တရားလုံးစုံကိုကိုယ်တော်တိုင်အမှန်တိုင်းကိုယ်တော်တိုင်သိတယ်လို့မြတ်စွာဘုရားအဲဒီလိုပုံပုတ်ပြီးပြည့်စုံတဲ့မြတ်စွာဘုရားလောကမှာပုံပုတ်ပုံပုတ်တာဟာသုံးကပရဖို့ခရင်ဒီရဖို့ခရင်နေဆိုတော့ဈေးပေါ်တဲ့ပါတော့ရှားပါတယ်တန်ဖို့ရှိတယ်ဆိုတော့ဒီဖြစ်လာဒါအတူတူရှင်းပြရအောင်
Among those 5 difficult things to gain, the first one is the appearance of the Buddha is difficult to gain in this world. Sada says, if we just simply say it is difficult to have the appearance of the Buddha in this world is difficult, that could be enough to know in general way. But it is necessary how it is difficult to appear in this world as a Buddha. In the text, it has shown three attributes to describe the qualification of the Buddha. The first word is Tathagata, and the second word is Arahant, and the third word is Samma Sambuddho. The simple meaning of Tathagata is the person, the Buddha, who came in this world as the previous Buddhas. That means the Buddha who appear in this world, he doesn't appear simply in this world as those other Buddhas practice the Dhamma to become the Buddha and appear in the world. In the same way, the Buddha, Gautama, also came in this world following the tradition of the ancient Buddhas. Sayadaw mentioned the starting point as a bodhisattva who was to be a Buddha at that time, but still he hadn't got the actual prophecy to fulfill his to-be Buddhahood. He was born as a sage Sumedha. He had already fulfilled his Savaka Parami Jnana, Sayadaw says, to be the disciple of a Buddha. If he had wish and will to obtain the Arhathood at the time of the Dipankara, the Buddha, he could obtain the Arhatship at that time. But realizing himself what suffering he had to face in the world, seeing same type of suffering in the worldly beings, he didn't try to obtain the Arhatship at the time of the Dipankara, the Buddha. So he decided to be a Buddha himself as the Dipankara Buddha was. So he gave up the discipleship and just having the Arhatship as a disciple, he decided to become a real Buddha. To be a Buddha, it is not easy task. No one can appear from the heaven to the human life to be a Buddha. He had to fulfill all sorts of perfections to become real Buddha. And to fulfill those perfections one after another, it takes hundreds and thousands of cycles of the world. Eons and eons he had to spend the perfection, spend his time facing various types of difficulties, various types of sufferings to save the worldly suffering people, to fulfill each and every perfection. So therefore, the Buddha had already perfected all those perfections through which he can obtain the Buddhahood in his last life. And when he became the Prince as Siddhartha, after renouncing his princely life and all the princely pleasures, abundant worldly pleasures, he strived to find out the true way through which he could really become a Buddha. So he strived for 6 years, followed various ways to experience the exercises which were well known at the time of the Buddha. But all those practices he found useless. Later on, he himself tried to find out the ways. So therefore the Buddha, the meaning is knower. It is not the knowing from others' teaching, others' guidance. The knowing is created through his own effort, through his own wisdom. So therefore, although simply the Buddha is called Buddha, but there are meaningful words to describe how he became the Buddha. He became the Buddha without having any aid to find out the path through which he can obtain the Buddhahood. So therefore he is called Sambuddha, who knows the way of enlightenment himself. Whatever he had known as the Buddha, there wasn't any wrong thing. He had known all those right things, unblameable things, uncriticizable things. There wasn't any fault in his knowing. So right knowing is there, perfect knowing is there. Therefore, the word is again used as Samma Buddha. He knows all the things without mistaking anything. He knows rightly everything, perfectly everything. So in this way, the full word is given as Samma Sambuddha, one who knows the knowable things in this world, whatever there may be. He known them perfectly, and he known them without having any aid from others. So therefore, he became the Buddha as the self-perfectly enlightened one. Since when he became Samma Sambuddha, self-perfectly enlightened one, he became also worthy one. And that is the simple meaning of Arahant. He became worthy to have respect, honor from various worldly beings, including the Devas and Brahmas. And he had totally extinguished all those impurities through which all sorts of sufferings could be created in this world. And that also could give the meaning as the Arahant. So in this way, such qualified Buddha difficult to appear in this world. So therefore, the first difficult aspect to gain is the appearance of the real self-perfected enlightened Buddha.
Now, Ditya Kekayara, the Tagata Buddhisa, Dhamma Uniyasa, Dishita Pugalo, Dulavo, Lokasami, Dishita Pugala, Kunela Lava, Munevene, Teya Hojara Puku, Lokama, Yagura, Hojara India, Hobby Kona Vessel, Naman Children over. You have either a genius canyon, either a genius, either you see in a Buddha canyon, Lavadi Yazino, Illumination and Same Hobby. The Yaman, the Pisana, Sichana, Sijava, Yaman in the Red Valley Chino, Lamela Chino, Seattle for the Yosha of our vessel. Yosi, Seattle of the Shadow. The Mitaguna Kavio, Koja Najara Bogoria, Najara the Montana, a little bit of Jindon, Queen Yashi, Pito, Yavi Pito, Ishia, Wanda, Mulita, Milana Mulita, Ilvia, Sigantavio, Kona Lava, Koja the Bogu. Bagu Hojara, also Coaching Hojara, Tama Unia Sala, Tama Unia Sala. They are China Bogu, sent down near down, near the deer. Kuno say that Tomio Vijiji that in Chifu. Do send down near the mirror. Do ye Chifu, they are Edia Hojara. Eddie Diara, we are Bogo and the other Savana. The Tagara Budita, that's how we are cooler. Kuno in it, Yaka, Kuno in it, that's how we are cooler. Kuna Tari Hojare, they are every day I need to Hojare Poco, you Jara Poco, the same Jara Poco. Yata Poco, Roma Shari, Ugarado. Even a Yenico, Teran and Alida. Saving the lady both are available, Hojara Poco, even I take them in a BTV. And one of the check when you are at the other area, who are holding the bottom of the water. You look at the TV. Every room, how good at them, the time that we did that, the whole year. This was how. That would be a new Hojara Poco, Shari.
And the second person who is difficult to gain in this world is the person who expounds the Dhamma according to the teaching of the Buddha without seeking any gain, without following after the name and fame. In this world there are people, when they have some power in speech, they would like to attract people to have hundreds of followers following behind. They want to enjoy it, and they want to show that how many followers they have. Such person who really teaches the teaching of the Buddha hasn't got that kind of intention to have such gaining as the followers or as the worldly properties. There are some teachers, although they want to teach the teaching, but there are in behind to have something to gain as the worldly possession themselves. The real person who teaches the teaching, he never seeks such type of gaining worldly possessions as well as worldly names and fames. He has only intention to teach to the people because the worldly people are in great trouble, not knowing the true Dhamma, not understanding the reality of the world, so they are facing all sorts of disasters in this world. To make them free from such disasters, such problems and sufferings, he wants to teach them the true way and true path. With pure love, compassion, and sympathetic joy. He wants to have happiness in the worldly beings, in the life of the worldly beings. He wants to free them from their sufferings, and he wants to enjoy the pleasing life himself. And when he teaches the teaching, it is not his own creation, or it is not just showing that he knows everything. He follows the teaching according to the teaching of the Buddha, what the Buddha had expounded. At first, he tries himself to understand the teaching of the Buddha literally or textually himself, and he does the practice to realize and understand the teaching truly himself at first. So therefore, he teaches the teaching to the people according to the Dhamma Vinaya. The Dhamma Vinaya means the teaching through which people can get wholesome physical, verbal, mental behaviors to be really a cultured and civilized people. And through the teaching, who can raise their humane nature to have real humanity in their life. So the teaching is there through which people can uphold their life, can make meaningful their life and their existence. That type of teaching is teaching is to be taught by that person. So he teaches the teaching to the people according to the Dhamma Vinaya, which are really enabled to discard the suffering of the beings and put them in the high standard living, fulfilling their all human behaviors within them. And that teaching also not others' teaching, it is the teaching taught by the Buddha himself. So therefore it is mentioned as Tathagata Paveditassa. As the Tathagata, the omniscient Buddha, taught to the people to give such civilized, cultured and high-level life, and the person teaches according to the teaching of the Buddha, without adding himself as extra ingredients. But nowadays there are people, they study little bit from here and there, and they try to add very many things. Spices will be there in their teaching, and they show their greatness that they invented themselves the teaching. That type of teacher isn't the teacher which is mentioned as the teacher who is difficult to gain. So therefore the second person who is difficult to gain is the well-teaching teacher.
တတိယဒုလဘပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ကတော့တထာဂတပုရိသပုရိသသဓမ္မဝိနည်းသတိစိတသဝိညာတာပုဂ္ဂလောဒုလဘလောကသမေခုနမြတ်စွာဘုရားကိုယ်ဟောကြားထားတဲ့ဓမ္မဝိနည်းတွေပေါ့လေသူ့နေရာနဲ့သူ့နေရာဖွက်ပြီးတော့ကျင့်တတ်အောင်ဆိုပြီးညွှန်ကြားချက်ရှိပါတယ်ဒီစိတ္တသဆိုညွှန်ကြားကောက်နှုတ်ပြီးညွှန်ကြားချက်ရှိအဲ့ဒီညွှန်ကြားချက်တွေကိုကြားနာသိရှိတယ်ဒါစာပေပိုင်းတော့သုတ္တမြတ်ပိုင်းတော့ကြားနာသိရှိပြီးဟာရှာပါတယ်ဒီဆိုတာအဲ့ဒီမြတ်စွာဘုရားဟောကြားထားတဲ့ဟောကြားတဲ့အချက်တွေကိုကြားနာပြီးတော့လေ့လာတာရှိတယ်စာအုပ်ကြည့်ရှုပြီးတော့လေ့လာတာရှိတယ်လေ့လာမှုအများကြီးပေါ့ဒီလေ့လာသိရှိပြီးလို့ဆိုပါတယ်လေ့လာသိရှိတယ်လေ့လာတယ်ဆိုတာကရွေးချက်ကောင်းကောင်းနဲ့လေ့လာတယ်တရားကြားနာတယ်ဆိုတာရွေးချက်ကောင်းကောင်းနဲ့ကြားနာမှာဒါမှအဲ့ဒီပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ရှင်းသွားတယ်ပါသူများဟောတဲ့တရားကိုကြားနာတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ပြီးတော့ဘုရားတရားတော်ကြီးလေ့လာတဲ့ပစာပေရလေ့လာတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ဘုရားတရားတော်တွေကကောက်ထုတ်ပြီးတော့ကောင်းလို့ရာကိုအနှစ်သာရရှိတဲ့စာပေတွေကိုလေ့လာတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ရွေးချက်ကောင်းကောင်းနဲ့လေ့လာဖို့တော့ဘုမုဒ္ဒယတနာစီစီထတ်တော်သတ္တမစုနန္ဒပြရတယ်ဘုမုဒ္ဒယတနာစီစဆိုတာဒီတရားကြားနာပြီးတော့ဒီတရားလေ့လာပြီးတော့တိရိတာတွေကတိရိတာချုပ်ချယ်ပြီးတော့လုံးရောက်စီရဲဆိုတော့ဒီလိုကြီးရချက်ရှိတယ်အဲ့ဒါဘုမုဒ္ဒယတနာစီစဥကြည့်ချက်ရှိတယ်အဲ့ဒီဥကြည့်ချက်မှာထတ်တော်ကြံ့ရံရက်တည်ပြီးတော့နတ်ဆိုးဆိုးကပြောခဲ့တဲ့ဘုရားတရားကြီးကြားနာတာဒီရွေးချက်ကောင်းကောင်းနဲ့ကြားနာတော့နားရဲရောက်လာပြီးတော့နားရဲကနေနှလုံးသားထဲမှာပဲမှတ်မိပါပဲနားနေတာပဲဘုန်းကြီးတို့ဒီစိတ်ရောက်ပြီးပြင်ရတယ်စိတ်နဲ့စိတ်ဓာတ်တွေကိုတိုးတိုးပြရတယ်အတိမာန်ကြီးဖြစ်အောင်ဘယ်လိုဖြစ်ပေါ်အောင်ကြိုးစားရတယ်အတိမာန်ကြီးခြေကားစားပြီးတော့စဉ်းစဉ်ဖြစ်ပြီးတော့နောက်ဆုံးပြည့်မစားအငြိမ့်တဲ့ကိုညမောက်ဖြူတယ်ဆိုတော့ဘယ်လိုကျင့်သုံးရလဲဆိုတော့ကျင့်သုံးပြီးအမှန်လေးပေါ့ကျင့်ပြီးအမှန်လေးပေါ့ကြားနာလေ့လာသိရှိလို့အဲ့ဒီပုဂ္ဂိုလ်မျိုးလောကမှာရှားပါတယ်
The third person who is difficult to gain in this world is the person who knows the teaching according to the teaching of the Buddha or as taught by the Buddha. The third person is the person who knows the teaching with study, not with practice yet. And when people study the teaching according to the instruction or guidance, they should have some purpose to study the teaching. and to know the teaching. Vimutti, the precious gem. Possessing that gem, he can obtain the thing through which he could be liberated from this suffering world. Having the excellent aim or excellent purpose, he should try to study the teaching and try to know the teaching. There are various ways to study the teaching. At first, one can listen to the teaching. Through listening also, people can gather understanding, and they can know many things through listening. Again, they can know the teaching studying various texts, authentic text. Through studying the authentic text, he can earn a lot of understanding. He can know many things about the teaching. He should try to know how to purify his physical and verbal activities. He should try to understand and know how to develop his mental state and how to purify his mind. And he should try to know and study and understand how to get rid of this suffering world to reach to the real deliverance. So in that way there are so many ways to study, and the person who has studied in that way all the teachings, the Dhamma Vinayas, according to the teaching of the Buddha, Tathagata Paveditassa Dhamma Vinayasa Desitassa Vinyata. The word is so long in Pali, difficult to give each meaning precisely. So he knows the teaching through the study, and not only study, he tried to excavate the teaching. So he tried to make research himself the teaching. So in that way, first listening, then studying the textual things, and then excavating himself, and then trying to make research properly to see and understand and know clearly the teaching. So in that way, one who has studied the teaching and known the teaching in such a way is difficult to gain in this world. In this aspect, Sayadaw says we should try to take care with great care. There are people sometimes they might have right purposes to study and to try to understand the teaching. Although they might have good purpose, at first when they start the teaching to study, but later on the mind is so changeable, there arises various desires. After listening something from this teacher, they think now they understand something, and again go to another teacher, they study something from there, and they again feel that they have more understanding now, again switch off to the another teacher, he will gain or they will gain some understanding there, and they might read sometimes according to the appropriate environment or the opportunity. They will get in their hands some books, and they try to study this and that and pick up some notes, put into their notebooks, and try to get another book and try to gain something from there and pick up something, and in that way they thicken their notebooks. And later on they would like to be a teacher, and they want to give guidance to others. So little from here, little from there, they could try to hold a notebook and become a teacher. And that would be really dangerous thing to do. And some people might have from the beginning not right purpose, because of often some facilities depending on the teaching, so they want to gain something and try to gain little bit like pickle taste, and earn little bit knowledges and try to be a teacher, and that is more dangerous one. So therefore, when we try to understand the teaching, we should try to understand with pure purpose, only right purpose, without ingredients in it. Then only the knowing things will be perfect one, pious one, useful one, beneficial one. Otherwise, it could be dangerous to oneself, and it could be dangerous for others.
တရားဟောမယ်ဆိုရင်တော့အများကြီးရှိပါတယ်။ဘာလို့လေးခုမြောက်သူဘာတရားသူဘာပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ပြောရတယ်။တထာဂတပုတိတ္တဓမ္မဝိနည်းသတိစိတ္တဝိညာတာဓမ္မနုဓမ္မပိပန္နောပုဗ္ဗလောသူလဘောလောကသံ။ခဏတရားမျိုးကိုပဲသုံးလို့အဲ့ဒီတရားမျိုးတွေကကျင့်သုံးနိုင်ကြအောင်ပေါ့လေ။ညွှန်ကြားတဲ့အထူးလေးတွေပေါ့။အဲ့ဒီညွှန်ကြားတဲ့အထူးလေးတွေကိုဘုရားယရဏစီစရရွေးချက်ကောင်းကောင်းနဲ့ကြားနာသိရှိပြီးတော့သတ္တတရားဒီလိုကြတာဝကဉာဏ်ကြီးဖြစ်ပွားပြီးတော့မတရားဖို့တရားနိဗ္ဗာန်တရားတွေကိုသက်ဆုပ်တဲ့ရရှိနေတာသူတို့ဒီကံဘာဝနာအချိန်မျိုးပေါ့လက်တွေ့ကျင့်သုံးတယ်ဓမ္မနုဓမ္မပိပန္နပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ခေါ်ရွေးချက်မြောက်အောင်ပေါ့ပြည့်စုံတဲ့အထိကျင့်သုံးတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်အဲဒီကျင့်သုံးတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်လည်းပဲသူကပြရဲပါလိရှားပါလိလို့ဆိုတာ
Sayadaw says, although there are so many things to tell you about this third person to gain, difficult to gain, but we have to consider the time, so therefore he would like to go to the fourth point. The fourth person who is difficult to obtain or gain in this world is the person who really does the practice according to the teaching and according to the understanding which he or she had studied in various ways as the Buddha had taught. And he or she has right purpose, trying to follow the teaching according to the understanding or knowing. He has great confidence in the teaching, and he had spiritual urgency himself to get rid of this suffering world, and he wants to obtain the deliverance, to free from all those impurities, depending on which could be created various problems in this world. So having such right purposes and well-directed mind, he or she does the practice to really see the true nature of the existence or the life or the world. So Dhammanu Dhamma Patipanna, according to the Dhamma who follows the Dhamma, Sayadaw says, as you are doing here, you are following according to the teaching of the Satipatthana. So the Satipatthana way is right way through which you can see clearly how you can train your physical, verbal and mental behaviors, and how you can eradicate those impurities bit by bit, each and every moment. So in this way, one who follows precisely according to the teaching, having proper purpose in his or her life, and put sufficient mental powers in his or her practice. Such people also, per person also difficult to gain in this world, who really follow according to the teaching of the Buddha and according to the guidance of the Buddha and according to the path of the Buddha.
Yunadai Yudiri Lili Sasa Si Sasane Udije Mamane, Jindone Boguya, Jindon the lot. You will not hear you do it, Sita Udu Killa. China, Yuna Baisa, the Luna, John Ju Sessa Villa. John Ju said you obviously had always a villa. Yik level, Yik cut the delivery. He has ever seen. Say, call it a king, two days ago, but here he is a long channel. That's how we need Jalanta Jana Suki, a bit of Mandis. So we are meeting at a time. Maybe Jaja, you are a Jilona Pukunia. Suzu says that she was Logis and Chana, so we wins and Chana and Muli of who. We rather than San Chana and Muli of who, the Chana who. Era in a movie like that. တရားမှာကိုဖော်ထုတ်တော်မူတဲ့မြတ်စွာဘုရားလည်းမြတ်စွာဘုရားကိုကြည့်ပြီးနားနေတာပဲအဲ့လိုတရားတွေအထုတ်ဖြစ်အောင်စာရုပ်နဲ့လက်တွေခုပေါင်းစပ်ပြီးတော့ညွှန်ကြားပြီးတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ကြီးတရားနဲ့ဆက်သွယ်ပြီးအောင်လို့တိုက်တွန်းပြီးတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ကြီးဒီပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ကြီးပေါ်မှာလည်းကြီးကြီးကျယ်ကျယ်တယ်အဲ့ဒါကတိကြီးခေါ်တယ်ခေါ်ကြည့်တာလည်းကတ္တဝေဒီခေါ်တယ်ဒီကောင်းတဲ့တရားပဲဒီတရားကမှတွေ့ရတာစိုးစိုးပဲတွေ့တယ်ဘာလို့များကောင်းလဲစတယ်တရားရဲ့ကုန်ကြည့်ပြီးခေါ်ကြည့်ဒီလိုတရားတော်တွေ့ရင်မှလည်းတတ်တည်ရှိကြဘူးပေါ်ရဲကြဘူးဒီတရားမှန်တယ်ဒီတရားကောင်းတယ်ဆိုတော့ပေါ်ရဲကြဘူးပေါ်ရဲရှိရင်တို့တရားတွေဟာမှဆိုနေတာဘာလားမသိဘူးပေါ်ရဲကြတယ်တိုက်တယ်တရားမရှိကြအဲ့ဒါရှိအဲ့ဒါတော့ကြီးကြီးမတိတဲ့တော့ရှိပါတယ်တရားရဲ့အကျိုးကိုလက်တွေ့ကြကြစာရုပ်နဲ့လက်တွေ့ကိုပေါင်းစပ်ပြီးတော့ဒီနားလည်းကြီးဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တတိယပေါ်ကြည့်တာကတ္တဘူးပုံပေါ်လေးလေးရဲရဲတင်းတင်းပေါ့ပေါ်ကြည့်ရတယ်ဒီတော့ဒီတရားပြန်ပေါ်ဝင်ရတော့ဒီနိစ္စပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ကြီးတိုက်တွန်းပြရတယ်။ဒါမျိုးတွေပေါ့။ညညအထုတ်ပြအောင်လို့နောက်ကနေတွန်းအားပေးရတယ်။ဒီတော့ဒီတရားဌာနတွေပေါ့ပြန်ပေါ်ဝင်ရတဲ့အစီမံကိန်းကြီးဆက်စဉ်းစားရတယ်။အဲဒီခုရရှိတယ်ပေါ့ဒီမတ်စီပင်နဲ့ကိုကဆရာလေးရှင်လာမျိုးတော့ဒါမျိုးတော့ထားပါမယ်။ဆရာကြီးကတော့နောက်မှထားတယ်။ဒီလိုပါရှိလို့ဆိုတာတရားထုတ်တဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်လမ်းမှန်ကမှသိရှိပြီးဆန့်နိုင်ကြပါစေဆိုတာအဲ့ဒါဒီကထာကိုရေးပြောတယ်။အဲ့ဒါတတိယကတ္တကိုခေါ်ပါတယ်အဲ့ဒီပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ကိုလောကမှာကြာချင်းရှားပါတယ်လို့ဆို
Sayadaw says, if people follow according to the teaching of the Buddha at first, through the practice they can keep apart those hindrances which hinder their practice, not to have any progress in their practice. So at first through the practice they can purify their physical, verbal activities. Later on, gradually, when they enable to eradicate or keep aside those hindrances, then they will get mental development. So purification of mind will be there in the beginning. And after that, if they proceed again forward, they will see clearly what is the life, what are there in the life or in the existence. They can clearly understand the physical and mental phenomenal aspects in their existence or in their life. Or these are the things which should be understood and realized in the beginning. So they know precisely with discrimination, this is the physical phenomenon, this is the mental phenomenon. Oh, these are the physical phenomena, these are the mental phenomena. And they are called the existence or life. Apart from those, there are nothing special thing to grasp and cling to. So in this way, first understanding they develop in their practice. And the practice is there to give that development. And later on, when they again proceed their practice, they will see clearly, because of this is happening, because of that is occurring. So in this way they will know the cause and effect process of the life and of the existence or the phenomena. So gradual improvement is there through the practice. And that is the true practice which can give the understanding more and more. As much they put the effort in the practice, so much they will gain the understanding. And later on, they even can see how those physical and mental processes are occurring moment after moment, second after second, minute after minute. They will see all those phenomenal aspects in each and every moment, arising and dissolving, arising and dissolving, arising and dissolving. So in that way they will gain the understanding. Yes, it is true, all the phenomenal aspects are arising and passing away. Nothing stands still in this world. No everlasting process is there. They are all changing processes. They are rushing into the flux. So in this way the understanding develops gradually, and when they understand in that way, they will gain strong power of mind. They enjoy that. Knowing all these things, now I can see the true nature of life, true nature of existence, or true nature of the world. So the enthusiasm, interest increases, and they will find out the pleasure in which no ingredients is necessary to add. The experience is itself so pleasing, so peaceful, and happy-giving one. So in that way they will get the enjoyment of the practice. Sometimes even they can get the mundane jhanika stages. They will be in tranquil per moment. Sometimes hours and hours they can stay observing the objects without having any distractions, without having any wandering thoughts and minds. So they can see the tranquility state of mind. That is also the understanding or gaining something through the practice. And the people can understand, this practice could give such kind of tranquility of mind. So one way they can understand the mundane jhanika stages, and another way they can understand the true nature of the life. Through the practice of tranquility, meditation, they will be in trance. And through the practice of insight meditation, they will gain the under-knowledge of the existence. So therefore, those who have such pious purpose in their practice, there will be lot of things to experience. And when they experience in that way all these aspects, what happened then? This teaching is really true teaching. Here is the reality. As it is said, so we are experiencing. So truthfulness in the teaching will be there, and you will develop the confidence, devotion in the teaching. Devotion arises at first in the Dhamma. When you understand the value of the Dhamma, you know the expensiveness of the Dhamma, then you also know about the teacher who teaches the teaching. So when you know the Dhamma, you know the quality or attributes of the Buddha also. So in that way you can see the Buddha. And when you can see the Buddha, at that time you would be very grateful. That is the fifth aspect, which is difficult to gain in this world. A person who knows and the gratefulness in this world is difficult to gain. But the real practitioner understands through his or her own practice that the teaching is true and the teacher is true. Then gratitude comes, rather towards the teaching as well as towards the teacher. So you will become grateful. Sometimes people do not just only think grateful within their mind, they want to express it fully, wholeheartedly, and they are there explaining how grateful he is or she is upon the Dhamma and upon the Buddha. So the gratitude as well as expression of gratitude will be there. Not only to the Buddha, even their gratitude goes to the teacher who guided them to do the practice, who showed the path to them to do the practice, to make them understand the teaching. So they will become grateful towards the teacher. Not only towards the teacher, those people who introduced them with the Dhamma, they become grateful to those people also. So they will be grateful towards the friends, they will be grateful towards the teacher, they will be grateful towards the Dhamma, and they will be grateful towards the Buddha. So in this way the gratefulness increases in their mind, and the knowing of gratefulness increases in their mind. But there are some people, Sayadaw says, although in their mind they might have some gratefulness, but they are not there to express with words. They are afraid of having something behind to them. So although they want to express their gratitude, but their speech is stuck within their lips. Sayadaw says these 5 things which are difficult to obtain or gain in this world, therefore it is compared with the jewels or the gems. They are gem-like things, jewel-like things, because they are valuable and precious. Being precious things, therefore those 5 things couldn't be easily gained. Sayadaw says, as the worldly, various precious things, gold, diamond, and other jewelries, when people gain those things, they feel happy. They enjoy it very much. And they cannot gain those things easily with cheap prices. They have to pay lot of monies, dollars, pounds. You cannot buy with a single pound a diamond. If you don't have enough money, enough possession and property in your hand, although you want to gain those precious jewels, you can't. So those who possess lot of possessions and lot of monies, can I say monies? They only can use those precious things. Poor people can't, because it costs a lot. And when you gain those things, all the time you are dancing. Oh, I have got the precious things. You want to show them to other people that you possess such things. So in that way, those golds and other precious things are there to give you joyous feeling, pleasing you. So happy giving things. And the happy comes because of the preciousness. They are precious, so happy could be there when you obtain those things. And it is not easily obtainable, difficult to obtain. That is why you pay more importance to those things, and you highly think about the value of those things. So ordinary people can't gain them. In the same way, the 5 qualities, 5 persons, which Sayadaw has described according to the text and given by the Buddha himself, also, like the gem, not easy to gain easily. So they are very precious. So such people are rare in this world. They were valuable. They are valuable people. And only those people who knows the value of such people, they pay their respect to such people. They are they are well venerated with those people who understand the value of them. So therefore, the jewel-like things which Sayadaw has expressed, difficult to gain, and that difficulties you are trying to obtain. So you know the value, and you are there using your expenses to buy those precious things yourself. So you are listening carefully to understand, to possess those qualities within yourself, and that paying attention to listen to the teaching is spending money to buy those precious gems or jewels. And through listening to them, listening to the teaching, you are developing confidence. You are developing devotion. So devotion is there as the buying money. So you are spending those valuable collected confidence to buy those valuable jewels. And to buy those valuable jewels, just having confidence is not enough. You need to have desire to do, to obtain those things. So it is necessary the samma chanda, right intention, to obtain those valuable things. Without that right intention or the desire to do, you cannot use the money in proper way. So therefore, you should have devotion, you should have desire to do, and after that, you cannot obtain those things easily. You cannot go and buy from the shop outside. You have to put effort, moment to moment, moment after moment. Having constant, continuous effort, only those things could be bought. So therefore, precise right effort is necessary to obtain those things. In the same way, precise right observing power, precise right concentration, all sorts of those expenditures should be there in your hand, and you should possess all those lot of possessions in your hand. Then only you can obtain those things. But you are having all those things to buy those precious things, so you are really lucky people and fortunate ones.
အခုလိုခေတ္တကြီးမှာမိမိတို့ဖို့လည်းပဲနှစ်တည်အားရမှုအပြည့်ပေးနိုင်တဲ့ယရနာတွေရောဟိုကထိုက်တန်တဲ့တန်ကြီးပေးပြီးတော့ကိုယ်ပိုင်ရရှိအောင်ပေါ့လေလုပ်နိုင်ဖို့လိုပါတယ်ရရှိအောင်ပြုလုပ်လို့ရှိရင်မိမိတို့လည်းပဲယရနာကိုလက်ခံပြုပြီးတော့မိမိတို့ကိုယ်တိုင်ယရနာနဲ့ပါတော့ကိုယ်တိုင်ယရနာနဲ့ပါတော့မှာပါဒီလိုအခြေအနေမျိုးတွေကိုဒီနေ့နဲ့မတွေးပဲနဲ့ခပ်ပေါ်ပေါ်ပြင်းပြီးတော့ဒီတိုင်းမှာမိမိတို့ဘဝကိုချိန်ကုန်နေမယ်ဆိုရင်လုပ်ဒီကိစ္စတွေတာမကိုကိစ္စတွေနဲ့မဆုံးနိုင်တဲ့လူ့ကိစ္စတွေနဲ့ချိန်ကုန်နေမယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တန်ကြီးမပေးနိုင်တော့ရရှိတဲ့အတုအပပေါ့ယရနာနဲ့လောကမှာပေါ့လေဝင်ကြတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ရှိတယ်လို့ပေါ့အတုအပမမှန်ကန်တဲ့ယရနာတွေနဲ့စခန်းသွားမယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တော့ဘောတန်လည်းဘယ်လောက်ရှိလဲနည်းနည်းမသိတော့ဒီတော့ယရနာအတုတွေနဲ့ဝင်ကြုံမိအောင်ကြိုးစားနေကြပါစေလို့ဒီနောက်ဆုံးဒီရှင်နဲ့တော်လုံးတော့ပါဒီနည်းနဲ့တက်ကြပါလား
So Sayadaw says, knowing the value of the precious things, it is necessary to try to obtain them in proper way. If you don't have proper way to obtain those precious things and just pay attention only towards the worldly things, outwardly aspects, then you will lose the precious jewels or gems from your life. Even though later on you want to obtain those things, but if there will be improper guidance and improper way to follow, then you miss all those things, and you will to suffer not only this life, life after life. How long it may take to have those precious things again, it couldn't be said. So therefore, careful attention should be taken to possess those precious things and to become yourself precious ones. Today the time has already passed. Sayadaw says we will try to continue the teaching in coming days.